I need to look up one more thing really quick.
Okay.
Because I have no idea which episode this is.
No problem. Can I just announce Happy New Year?
Yeah. Oh, is this part of the podcast now?
I thought that's what we're doing, man.
No, I'm looking
Oh,
up
you
the
really
thing.
said you needed a moment off of the record.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to the Brainal podcast. This is episode 8. I'm Jepicondyle.
And I am FrozenGFX.
Frozen, you want to do it now?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everyone. So we've been definitely not a hiatus. We've been on a holiday break, but also there were a couple issues with the past 2 podcasts, and I'm still trying to sort out. But I haven't really tried in the past. I don't know how long. I will eventually upload those podcasts on YouTube, and I'll label them something different to differentiate them as far as. I guess they're non-canonical. Non-canonical.
Non-canonical.
Not a canonical.
Non-canonical.
But either way, so we're just we're not cutting our losses, but this is gonna be episode 8, and this is 2016. Frozen, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. And it's not a loss. It's all wins. Okay?
All
It's
wins.
All wins
all
this
gains.
year. Doing great. But how are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So tell me what you've been playing for the past God knows how long.
Well,
Wait, hold up. Wait, sorry.
okay.
Giggles, Mr. Giggles could not be with us this episode. He's recently moved, so he's still sorting some stuff out, but he will be back with us in the foreseeable future, so
Yes.
we can say that. So, go for it.
All right. So, most recently, I have picked up on GameFly Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear Phantom Pain.
Metal Gear.
Yes. That game, and we talked about it earlier. When you play a game such as this one, and like the mechanics are a bit new to you, but then there's a mission or there's some point in the game that everything just clicks.
Yeah.
And I'm over that threshold, and now I'm a stealthy bastard.
Nice.
And I'm taking down dudes left and right. It is so satisfying to play that game.
It is. I feel like, when we're kids and we imagine, like, oh, we're going to, infiltrate a base, got to be stealthy and stuff or whatever. I feel like you can actually pull that off and you feel like you've done it on your own in that game. It's so fluid.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, man.
When you get the system down. That's why I thought, I know there's a lot of controversy behind Ground Zeroes, but that's why I thought it was actually nice to have that first to get used to the system. And it was funny because I remember when Ground Zeroes came out, it was a confined space, right? So you had that base and a little prison camp.
Right.
But I remember being terrified to move.
Oh,
my God, they're going to see me.
Me too.
But I don't get that feeling here because I feel like they're going to be scared of me now,
Yes.
Because you have a lot more freedom to just chill and so it's really cool.
Yeah, your heroism has gained so many points that people are now speaking of you, and of course.
Oh yeah, if you overhear them.
Yeah, so it's dope.
So for the PlayStation, I think it was the PSP, there was, I guess, the timeline fashion before Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain, it was Peace Walker, and Peace Walker, I don't know, there was Portable Ops. I never played Portable Ops. Peace Walker had that system that Phantom Pain has where you have different missions. You have main missions, and you have side ops, and then you have a mother base, and there's like a a meta game of building up the mother base and developing new weapons and items and stuff. That was Portable Ops may have had that, but Peace Walker really tried to do that. But the limitations of Peace Walker, the limitations of PSP, forgive me, really the idea that system was being born at the same time, as well as the system that it was on was limited. But I'm telling you, the way Phantom Pain does it, it's so robust, and you can knock out, except I don't think main ops, but you can knock out several side missions if you plan them right. I think it's
Yeah.
so cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's such a great game. That game is really just taking my time, all of my gaming time, because I'm so involved in it. And it's a shame because, I received a game from you and Giggles as a holiday slash, I guess, birthday gift.
Yeah, there's no rush on that though.
Oh, I know there's no rush, but I just want to make the announcement. These awesome dudes hooked me up with The Last of Us. And, already told you, but to tell the people out there, I played the first portion of it, and I already know it's going to
Prologue,
be,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I already know it's going to be the top in my top five. It's guaranteed slot in top five. So
It's good. Naughty Dog is not one of those studios that they'll do a strong opening and then just kind of phone it in for the rest. It's
yeah,
quality the whole way through.
I get that feeling. I get that feeling right off the bat, and yeah, I am going to take my time. Right now, Phantom Pain's got me hooked, but I'm going to take my time with that, and it's going to be. I just know it's going to be great.
For the record, you're playing on PS4, the remastered one.
Yes, that's true. Yes, yes.
One thing I noticed, I don't know if it would bother you at all, but so I saw my friend play the original one when it first came out, and on the PS3, and when I played it on PS4, the 60 frames per second was kind of a little nauseating for me. And I switched it to 30 frames per second and it felt a lot more cinematic, and I liked it a lot more. Um, does the 60 frames per second not bother you at all?
To be honest with you, I don't see any difference. I have nothing to compare it to, and for as far as what I've been playing, it's been very smooth. So I haven't experienced that.
Okay, have you tried a 30 frames per second?
No, I haven't even messed with anything on that.
Gotcha. Hey, if it ain't broke, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like enough time has gone by where people aren't talking about that game as much. So I don't think you're really at risk for spoilers, but I would hate for that to happen before you beat it.
Yeah.
Just be careful. But.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely going to avoid all spoilers with that, and I don't want to cheapen my experience by doing that. So
Cool, man. Speaking of Naughty Dog, so Uncharted 4 is coming out, and I'm not the biggest Uncharted fan, not the biggest Naughty Dog fan until I played, or not biggest, but until I played Last of Us, and then I was like, man, that studio, has it going on. So one thing I wanted to do was I played a lot of the first Uncharted, never beat it. I beat the second one, played a lot of the third Uncharted, never beat it. So I ordered the trilogy, and I'm gonna play them all hopefully before 4 comes out. I think it comes out in April or something. And what really spurred that was on Netflix, the Da Vinci Code was released,
yeah,
and I watched it again. I forgot how much I love scavenger hunt movies. And then after that, I watched Angels and Demons, and then I watched The Last Crusade, and I was so into that, and I really just started to realize how much I love it. So I'm like, man, Uncharted definitely had elements like that. So did Tomb Raider, and so that's what made me realize, like, I'm gonna play Uncharted. I want to play Uncharted. So I'm really excited about that. But all I've been
sweet.
playing recently, well, okay, so I had about a few weeks break, and I had it. I have a pretty extensive backlog, and a few of the games in my backlog are long. Dragon Age is one of them. Inquisition, Witcher 3, which I just started relatively, and Metal Gear. and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna knock one of those out, and I decided to do Metal Gear before any spoilers. I hear
Right.
it, and I Frozen. I don't know how many hours in the past week I put into that game. It has to be close to, I don't know, it has to be close to like 30 hours just in the past week or something like that. And I went from like 25% to 50%. And
Wow.
yeah, that game is ginormous. It's ridiculous. Now I don't exactly know what the 50% represents though. I don't know if it's like of all the available missions or if it's all the everything you can find or develop or whatever. Um, but I'm not gonna spoil anything, I promise. But I just got through a part that was pretty intense, and I was very excited. And that game, I'm glad there are side ops, man, so you can just sort of distract yourself with simple things
Right.
before heading into the heavy stuff again. That game is ridiculous, and I still haven't finished it. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely some progress to be made with the side quest because I was doing that very heavily and leaving the main story alone.
Hmm.
And I probably jumped up maybe 3 or 4% just doing that. So this is a lot of stuff.
And at least I have never touched Metal Gear Online yet. I don't want to touch
Yeah.
that until I beat the game because I'm afraid I might see something in the multiplayer, like either an avatar or an emblem of somebody or something where it spoils something. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, the other thing that I noticed that I'm not going to be looking at the credits.
Oh, dude, yes, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, because it spoils stuff, and especially
yes,
with the like, I don't want to know if the skulls are there. I don't want to know
right,
because
exactly.
they're terrifying.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly,
man.
man. I just every time I load it up, I just kind of close my eyes and just kind of peek to see if I'm, ready to get off of the helicopter because I don't want to see things that are coming. Exactly like you said, the skulls. I want to feel that you
Instead of
know.
knowing it's
Yeah,
coming, yeah.
exactly.
Or other characters that I'm not going to mention, but the yeah, and I understand the idea. It's supposed to be set up like a TV show, which is cool. Um, but yeah, I just wish we had the option to turn off the intro credits. Because at the end of every
Yeah,
main op, they
yeah,
say starring, whatever. But yeah, that's something that's always been. Oh, and then sometimes I'll close my eyes, like, okay, I think it's done, and I look at it, it says skull, so I'm like, dang it! It's like I'm really bad at that timing. They're terrifying, man. They're terrifying.
Oh yeah, that's understatement right there.
Um, One thing, another game that I just finished recently, in it's I won't know exactly how to describe it. I'll tell you the premise of the game. Um, so it's a game for the Vita called Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, and it's obviously a Japanese game.
Oh, okay.
Um, and the best way I could describe it, it's kind of like a mixture between a game that I played, I love, called 999 and Virtue's Last Reward, mixed with Phoenix Wright. And the this is the premise, okay? There are high school students who get accepted to a school. It's supposed to be the top school in, I don't know, Japan or whatever. When they enter the school, they kind of faint, and when they come to, they realize that the school they're in is completely barred off from the outside world. All the windows
Nice.
are they're like they're boarded up. They're like metal boarded up, and there's this mechanical bear called Monokuma. It's like half black, half white, that is kind of running the show, and he informs everyone that the only way to graduate from that school is by murdering someone, one of their classmates, and getting away with murder. So what goes on
Jeez.
is, yeah, it's messed up. So what goes on is you learn, and they all have really Japanese names, and it took me a while. I thought I was gonna have a hard time memorizing them, but it's I play the game so much, it kind of I just knew their names anyway. But so basically, you become these people, you become friends with these people, but you also can't trust them, and then you try and find out what is going on because no one expected that to happen, and it's crazy because what would happen is if a body's been found, um, there will be a tone over the intercom, and Monokuma would say, attention, a body has been found, and he has like a very cartoony voice too, which is kind of crazy. Um, but it's kind of terrifying when you're like out and about, and then all of a sudden, just like a body's been found, and you go into investigation mode, and then you have to investigate. So you're trying to build relationships with these people. They throw a lot of curveballs, like really good ones, um, and they also, as you befriend these people, you also have to investigate these murders. And after the investigation's done, a class trial is held. Now, this trial, the first one that I played, I was like, "Holy crap! It is awesome." That's when the game really clicked for me. So you're sitting in a circle or standing in a circle, and there's no judge. Um, but basically, what happens is everyone's talking to themselves, and people are giving like mixed testimonies, where they it's not just one person. There'll be several people, and what would happen is the words they're saying would go across the screen. And what you're supposed to do is when you find a contradiction, you have what are called truth bullets, which are supposed to be um, just knowledge pieces that you can use to poke, to blow a hole in someone's argument or whatever. But the thing is, as the word goes across the screen, you have to move the reticle across over it, time it just right, and shoot the bullet, and then shatter the word. And you only have so much time to do this, and it gets crazier and crazier. And they add more and more stuff where it gets more like hectic, and you feel like that pressure where if you don't get it right, you get screwed. And here's the thing: if the people vote on if they were correct with their vote, because Monokuma knows who does it because he has surveillance and everything. If people are correct and vote for the we call it the blackened, the person who actually did the murder, that person gets executed by Monokuma, and the executions are like really messed up too, and they're tailored to like that person. If you vote, if everyone gets it wrong, or if the majority doesn't vote for that person or something like that, then everyone else gets executed except for the person who did the murder. And so it just goes on and on. It gets crazier and crazier and crazier. And at first, I was in the game for like, oh, because I love solving stuff. I love whodunits and everything. But Frozen, no lie, the last trial, when you started to realize, when the mastermind behind all this gets revealed and explains why they were doing this, it was a whole bunch of like, oh crap moments, and I would use more profane words, but I don't want to do that now. Constantly, but then what really drove me crazy in a good way was the metaphor. For some reason, it clicked to me at the very end. Um, what the whole game was supposed to be about. They don't explicitly say it, but it was pretty obvious, and I was like, wow, this is a very powerful game. There is such a strong message behind that game I didn't see coming. That game is going to leave a very deep impact for me. For a long time, and I really cannot wait to play the second one. I'm probably gonna order it pretty soon, but I was shocked at how great that game was, and you know what I've been through lately, right?
Yeah.
That game really enforced why something like that had to have happened. I guess you can say, but in a positive way. So the first 90% of the game for me was like, it was just very, not negative. It was like, it had a depressing tone, but it was very humorous at the same time. But it was a heavy game, I'll put it that way. But then the last bit just completely turned it around. I was like, Dang. I was so impressed. I was so impressed. I had a hard time sleeping. And like I said, I got to start the second one. I have to.
Wow, man, that sounds so damn interesting.
Yeah, that is. You know how much I love Phoenix Wright. It's
Yeah.
more impactful to me than the Phoenix Wright games because of the simple truth that that game comes to. It's ridiculous, the way they pull it out, and the music. Oh my god, the music at first was really crazy, and but it made sense, and I don't know what it was. And then what you do at the end of a trial, I think I wait. Actually, I think I do remember talking about this a long time ago, but I didn't beat the game though. I think in like one of our very first episodes. But the at the end of a trial, when you figured out who did it, you have to create like a little manga or a comic, and put the right pieces in the right frames to show. And I mean, the music, man, the music for that part was just very inspiring. Anyway, I just that game and Metal Gear, oh my god, just incredible.
Nice.
One more game that I really just started to play today is Undertale. So I told you
What was that?
uh, the listeners don't know this yet, but I ordered a Steam controller and I was playing Undertale with it. First off, the Steam controller is it's funky, man, in a good way.
Funky. I don't think I've ever heard you say that word, funky.
It's the only way I can describe it. It feels as familiar. It feels equally familiar and foreign at the same time. Um, the mold is really good. It feels really good. You know, just like it's more akin to like a 360 controller, how you know it fits in your hand. Um,
Yeah.
but the touch pads, the touch circles, the circle pads, whatever you want to call them, are what I have to get used to. Very functional, very customizable, which is blowing my mind. But I still got to figure out how to do that. Um, but really cool, really cool, and it was kind of surreal to play. I've never done this, at least since like early 2000. I think since I played, I think the original Grim Fandango or whatever. I've never played. I haven't played a computer game with a controller before. It's been a long time. Usually mouse or whatever. So it's cool. But Undertale is a retro style, I guess, RPG. In the same vein, it feels a lot like Earthbound as far as the combat system, if you want to call it that. But dude, man, almost like Danganronpa, it gets pretty emotional, but like profoundly emotional. And I only played the first part to it, and it's crazy because you come across these enemies, but you don't have to. At least the ones I've encountered so far, you don't have to fight them. And what you can do is you can talk to them, and then if you like check them, you know, like scan them or whatever, you see what they all have some type of, I guess, flaw, if you want to say that. Like one type of enemy would be very depressed, another one would be like very flirtatious. So you can flirt with one, you can cheer one up, you know, you can intimidate another one. Um, but then it got to a point where um, the being that was guiding me, uh, I went to her home, and so I'm a human. She's like some weird, I don't know what kind of animal she is, but humanoid, but an animal. And she takes me to her home, and I'm a little kid, and she clearly just she always wanted a child, and she just wanted to like adopt me. So she already had a room ready. She cleaned up, and she's baking. It's like a cinnamon butterscotch pie or something, and but meanwhile, like, you know, I'm a human. I fell down a hole. That's essentially what happened. And I'm like, hey, how do I get out of this? How do I get back home? And she kind of starts to like freak out, and it gets a little creepy. And then we go to the basement, and then in order for me to leave, I had to fight her. And it's like yeah, it's weird. And then I had to kill her, but before she died, she was saying certain things that were pretty heavy in a good way, but but we're sad at the same time too. And then, like, if this can sound morbid, but just picture a mother's dying words, to their child. That's like the type of
Mm.
words that she was saying. It was crazy.
Wow, man.
Then it got really humorous afterwards in the next part, I guess, to kind of, change the emotions up. But yeah, so I'm looking at these Game of the Year lists from my favorite websites, and Undertale keeps coming up. And I'm like, what is this? I don't play, like, PC games. So,
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's Mac compatible, so I was playing it. And I'm digging it so far, but I'm like an hour into it, but I just started tonight. So I'll keep you up to date on that, but it's just kind of crazy.
That's awesome, man. It sounds like you're kind of expanding your catalog.
Yeah, it was very surreal, like just playing on my computer with a controller. I was like, what? It's just weird, but it's cool.
Welcome to 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else been playing, man? We beat Soma.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned that in the last. I don't think
we
so.
totally kicked Soma's ass.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, that I don't want to say anything in case if people listen to this before they watch it. Very impactful. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's going to stick with you. And every now and then I think about that game.
It was a great game, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of like Danganronpa was like that, where we had hints, and we had a fairly, or at least me personally, I won't speak on your behalf, but I had like a loose, simple understanding of the philosophy of the game, or this philosophical, intention of the game. But that ending really hit it home, where I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
That was dope.
One thing I've done is, a bit difficult to say, but I've kind of alluded to it in the past podcast. I had an ongoing addiction that I just kicked of Battle Islands.
You stopped playing it?
I stopped playing it, dude. So during the holidays, I went on vacation, and that week, I took a whole week. So that week without playing it made me not think about that game anymore.
Wait, hold up. Was that the longest you've gone without playing Battle Island since you've started playing it?
Yes.
Wow. That's a heck of a commitment, man.
Well, it was a nagging annoyance because, there's no end game to that, right? So it's just repetitive things over and over again, and I'm not going to shell out money to get the perks or to get an advantage. So it was a very slow process. So that whole week I didn't play, and when I got back home, booted up the PS4, and I saw it there. I was like, I really don't want to do that anymore. So I deleted it and everything. So it's not in my game library anymore, and I'm glad I'm not playing it because it was.
But
very
you
annoying.
enjoyed it for what it was, right?
Well, yeah, I enjoyed it on the beginning and on the onset, but it's got a very addictive nature to it, where you got to, you feel like you have to go in, you got to check some things, you got to get the gold, you got to get the, the cash or whatever.
That's kind of like what I did, what I experienced with Destiny, but to I think a much more minor extent. Because Destiny does have an end game, and there's a lot more structure.
Right, there's so many. There's so many more things you can do with that. But just imagine if that game was just that. Like it's not cool. It's not fun.
One thing that we do need to talk about is Street Fighter. We have to bring people up to speed on what happened. So I visited Frozen.
Yeah, let me adjust my stance here.
I visited Frozen. We hung out over the holidays, and it was a lot of fun, man. I had a lot of fun.
Great, I'm glad you did.
We went to Player One, the Player One barcade. I don't know what you would call it, in Orlando, and we saw there was a Street Fighter 4. It was probably, I think it was like Ultra Street Fighter 4. We were playing, and with like legit with 2 arcade sticks, which was nice, and that was very well
the setup.
And
the setup was very nice, and the setup was very comfortable.
And man, so it was funny because once we I don't remember the last time we played Street Fighter against each other. The last thing I can remember was Mortal Kombat, and that you're definitely better than me at. But I don't remember the
Yeah,
last time. It's been years, but it's as if we never missed anything. It's as if it were
that's true.
yesterday,
That's
and
true.
it was funny because I was like, "Oh, who am I gonna pick?" And we both didn't we both pick a character? We stuck with them the
Yes.
whole night.
Yeah, because that was those were our mains. Those were the ones that we have played against each other.
Dude, it was so much fun. We played first to I think it was six wins. You came out on top. I think what was the final score? It was like 6-4.
Oh, I
I think
think
yeah, because I remember it was
so.
4-4, and then you won
Yeah,
two in a row. I remember, but man, it was awesome, man. I had a lot of
it's
fun.
crazy.
It was yeah, because we never played Ultra because we had those extra. Remember that one space station we were playing in? There was that robotic
Oh, yeah,
Zangief.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I
And
I, I will
go-
admit that you've bested me this time, but I can't wait to try again with Street Fighter
yeah,
Five.
it's February, right, when it comes out.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Sweet.
so.
So, that made me think about after that day. It made me think about the games that we played, and we have never had a rivalry in any other type of genre of game,
And fighting.
and then except for fighting games.
Yeah.
And I know I think I even tried to create something with you on Halo way back in the day, but that never really came to fruition. And I think we
Because I
even
think Call of Duty derailed that. We just enjoyed
right,
that. Yeah.
right, and then
Let's not talk
yeah.
about Mario Kart. That's not. That's
Oh,
not a
that's
rivalry.
yeah, that's true. But see, yeah, but I don't even count that because, I mean, I think our first rivalry in a game it had to have been
Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur, right?
Yeah.
And then, am I wrong in thinking that it was like, it was like Capcom versus, man, I had some kind of PlayStation game that we played a bit. It was before the Marvel vs. Capcom, whatever that was.
I don't
Anyway.
know. I know we never played Capcom vs SNK.
No, I don't think that was it.
You know what's kind of crazy though? Now that I think about it, maybe. Actually, I don't know. Okay, other than Marvel vs. Capcom, other than that, in Soul Calibur, can you think of any time we've ever played against each other in Street Fighter in person?
Wait, played against each other other than Street Fighter? You
No,
said
no, no. Now that I think about it, I can't think of any time we've ever played a Street Fighter game, canonical Street Fighter game, in person against each other.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So that was crazy. So we
Yeah,
got to
man,
see each
that
other's
was true.
faces. It was crazy. That was good though.
And for those of you who have a rivalry in a fighting game with somebody else, each other's go-to moves. You know each other's like patterns,
Yeah.
right? So it was funny to me is you chose Guile, which is one of your mains, and for the life of me, I can never remember he has those double low kicks.
Yeah.
Right. So,
That's his fierce. It was his roundhouse. So yeah, his
Right.
crouching roundhouse. His
right.
crowdhouse.
So, it took me a bit of maybe about 2 or 3 matches to remember that he had that. But then, you like started getting into your pattern, and you started getting more comfortable with Guile, and then you started doing those up kicks, right?
The flash kicks. Yeah.
The flash kicks. So at that point, I remembered how much I hated Guile. And I don't know if you noticed it, but I got like really quiet because I was so upset that I forgot about all of his moves.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I was quiet for a bit because I was pissed off that I forgot, and how could I get hit with stupidness like this? And I was raging internally for a little bit.
Well, I'm glad.
But then, but yeah, but it wasn't towards you. It was more of like, damn it, I forgot. How could I forget that? You
The
know, and everything else came into place with everything. So anyway.
the there are two reasons why I use Guile, and why he's one of my favorites. One, I like characters that are tough to use, and any character where he has charging moves, where you have to hold this for a few seconds and then do it, always
Right.
tough for me to use. But it was Marvel's Capcom 2 that he was the first character I learned how to air combo with. And it just made a lot of sense from that point. And yeah, I appreciate it. An American.
Markham.
Yeah. Yeah, so that thing is started. So we're gonna watch on Twitch. We're gonna watch a clarinet concert done by Michael Huber on Game
Should have
Trailers.
just left it at that. A clarinet concert.
Yeah, just a clarinet concert. So that is in a few minutes. But were there anything else you want to talk about?
You want to do the first question of the week for the year 2016?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so I don't have one prepared.
Okay.
So this is gonna go right off the hip. The hippie. Okay, oh man. So we've talked about superpowers, we've talked about greatest games. Um how about have I ever done anything about I don't remember. The greatest disappointment in a game
Oh,
that you
I don't
had
think
so
we did.
much. Really?
I don't remember you asking that.
Okay.
I don't remember having an answer. So I mean, I feel like I have to think about it from scratch.
Okay, so we'll go with that.
So what's the question
The-
exactly again?
So name a game that was the biggest disappointment for you. So a game that you looked forward to playing, and it just wasn't up to par, and you just probably didn't even finish it, or just gave it any time of day.
Okay, I had a knee jerk reaction, but then I thought of one that was actually even more messed up, and I'm gonna have to go with Resident Evil 6 on that one.
Dude, that's one I didn't think of as I was saying it, but that is a true definition right there.
Yeah, I was so disappointed by that. I was so pissed. I think I might have played maybe just like 10% of it, and I just sold it back.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I agree with you on that. We probably didn't even give it an hour. Excuse me, an hour's worth of play, did we?
I think I played through Leon's part, and it was okay. I remember the camera was so wonky that it kind of made me like motion sick. But Leon's part was cool because it felt old school. And then I started playing. I don't know if I finished Leon's part. I started playing the new. He's supposed to be like Wesker's son or something like that. I forgot what his name was. And I was like, no, no, I'm done. I didn't even play any other ones. But yeah, I'm hoping they just reboot that series. What about you, man?
Cool. For me, I think the biggest disappointment was the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles
Oh, really?
because, and I need to revisit that game because I think I didn't understand what I needed to do within that game. Because there was a section that I got to that I wasn't able to progress, or something happened where it just like I lost the story, and then I felt like there was no way of recovering. And it wasn't like I stepped away from it for any length of time. I was playing it regularly, and then the feeling just went away. I was like, I don't want to play this
Were
anymore.
you playing it by yourself?
Yes.
Oh,
So
man.
that
Yeah.
so that I think is the main driving force behind that, because there was a lot in that game that relied on different players, or like the connection.
Yeah, everyone needed a
right.
Game Boy Advance. It was
Yeah.
asking a lot for you to play multiplayer.
Yeah, so I think that's what turned me off of it, and I was just disappointed that I couldn't progress by myself with that.
I hear you.
You know?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Plus, there was a lot
Yeah.
of hype. I mean, I think that was the first Final Fantasy game ever since Square left Nintendo's partnership.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that game at the GameStop where I lived.
Man, so you were really
So I was like, man, it's gonna be great, and it just fell apart.
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Appreciate it.
Honorable mention is Evolve. That was my knee jerk reaction.
My knee-jerk reaction was gonna be Black Ops.
You know what? Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway, so everyone, thanks again for listening to us. This was episode 8 of the Brainal podcast. I'm Jepicondyle.
I am FrozenGFX.
And Happy New Year, and we will get back on track. So we haven't posted any videos in a few weeks. Next week, which would be this whatever week of January, we're going to start having more videos up. We got them. We just got to post them after.
Got him.
Anyway, everyone have a great week, and we will see you guys next week.
Peace.
Hey, we did peace at the same time that time.
Hey.